Paul, do you want to allow a few more minutes before starting the meeting?
Yeah, hey, Steph.
Hi, Paul. Let me.
I think all the board members are here, and it's after 7, so I think we should get started.
Let me just unmute all of the board members.
I'm good.
Okay, Paul, whenever you're ready.
Okay. I am calling this meeting to order of the Masters Board of Directors meeting for Towngate, Pembroke Pines Master Association on Tuesday, July 20th. The time is 7:02 p.m. I'm just going to quickly do the roll of the board members. Paul, I'm here. Bruce, are you here?
Present.
Bruce here. Rui, you here? Rui's here. Ronnie, you here? I know I saw her
her
on.
for a minute.
She was.
Yeah,
I see her on. May need to unmute her. Chris, I see Chris, you're on.
Yes, I am here.
Okay. Ronnie, I see is on, but she may be muted. Oh, there she is. Okay, Ronnie's here. Okay. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We have a rather full agenda, so what I'm going to ask is that we really get down to business, get through as quickly as possible. I would like to leave a substantial amount of time for any residents who want to chime in near the end of the meeting. So I really do want us to stay very close to our meeting time. Do you know Stephanie has the police officer representative from Pembroke Pines Police joined us? You're on mute, Stephanie.
I'm looking through the participant list. I haven't seen him log in yet, but
okay. Why don't we do this when he or she comes on? There he is. Is that Preston?
Okay, good.
Okay. Okay. So when we get to the business part of the meeting, Preston, I'm going to call on you so that you can get your part of the report done, and then you can go. You don't need to hang in with us. Okay. So the meeting's been called to order. I'm asking for an approval of 2 sets of minutes. One from May 18th of 2021. I'll ask for approval of those first. Do I have a motion? Rui? Do you have? I think you might be on mute, Rui.
I'd like to make the motion to approve those minutes from May 18th.
I have a motion from Chris. Do I have a second? Second from Bruce. Any comments? Rui, do you have a comment? Discussion, rather. Rui, you got to unmute yourself, I think.
She's unmuted.
Check your button, Rui, because I think you have to just click on it. Rui, just see if there's a mute button that you can unclick.
You just remuted yourself.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Rui, can you put the sign down and just speak into the microphone?
Rui, you are unmuted.
Rui, we cannot hear anything you're saying. So, okay, I think we need to, is that an indication you do not agree with the minutes for May? Is that what that means? I'm trying to read you. Okay, so you do not agree. Okay, So I will ask for a vote because because we can't hear you. So I'm going to ask for a vote for approval of the May minutes. If we have this is what I would suggest. If we have a correction to make to the May minutes, we can do that. But can we vote to approve them, or should we table them until we can hear Rui? Rui, you got to work on. Rui, can you work on your?
Yeah, Rory, can you just drop and rejoin and see if that will work for you?
Turn on your microphone.
Yeah, maybe the microphone's not plugged in.
Drop and rejoin. Yep, and that should help.
Oh God, Lord, give me strength. All right.
Back.
Is Rui back on?
Yeah. I just
All right, Rui, let's give you another shot here as you're rolling in.
Okay, I'm sending you the request now, Rui.
Okay, Rui. Let's try it again.
We still can't hear you.
I don't know what the purpose of the sign is.
Is it a joke? Is this all a big joke? Everybody else is on and live and able to hear each other. What's going on with your computer? We cannot hear you.
All right,
You are
so
not muted.
we're going to move on. So we're going to vote on the May minutes. We have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor signify by saying aye. I say aye.
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 Okay, opposed. Rui, I assume that your thumbs down and your sign is in opposition, so that will be a no. In the meantime, if we can fix your volume problem or your sound problem, we'll come back and revisit it. We can always do that. I'm going to ask for a motion on the June 15th, 2021 minutes. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Bruce moves. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ronnie second. Any discussion? Rui, can we? All right. No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Rui, I don't even see you now. Can anyone see Rui?
Yes, she's on this.
She has her hand up.
Go ahead and try to dial in, Rui.
All right. Maybe she calls and we can hear her.
Colin.
All right, so the minutes for the June 15th have been approved. Okay, what I'll do is under President's report, I don't really have much to say. I'm going to kick it to the police officer, Preston Feldman, who is representing Pembroke Pines Police Department. Sir, thank you for joining us tonight. Ronnie, I'm trying to remember what the original request was for having police department. I think there was some question about the level of crime, or whether that's been on an uptick in Towngate or not. So I think Officer Feldman is going to report on maybe some statistics, perhaps, and then maybe just in general, if you could give us some comments about what if anything you're seeing in Towngate.
Okay.
So please go ahead and introduce yourself. Officer Feldman,
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. So yes, and I was trying to play with this device here. And my first name is Andrew Feldman. My last name is Feldman. Preston is my son.
Hi, Preston.
Yeah, Preston's my 13-year-old, and he must have used this before. So, like President said, my name is Officer Feldman. I'm a member of our Community Affairs Unit, and part of our job is to come out and educate the community on crime prevention and go over the crime statistics. So, Commissioner Seipel asked me to pull the crime statistics for Towngate as a whole for the past year. So I went ahead and did that, and I'm not going to get into the crime prevention aspect of it because you guys are limited on time, and I'd like to do that for all the residents when we are able to do that in person. We'll be more than happy to come to your meetings quarterly and help out, and whatever you need. You could always email CAU, which is Community Affairs Unit @tpines.com, and myself or three of my other partners or our community affairs coordinator, Pranesh Chevalon, will be more than happy to get back to you guys and try to answer your questions as a community. Should you need any assistance in regards to anything with the police department. So what I did was I pulled the crime statistics over the past year, and I was able to study them and break it down to how many burglaries your community has and to what communities inside Towngate they occurred at. So over the past year, and the numbers are very, very good. I had Silver Lake's board of director meeting last night. Their numbers were good, and I believe yours are good. Of course, one crime is too many, but we do the best we can. And as far as burglaries to vehicles, Towngate as a whole had 21 vehicle burglaries. I'm sorry, 16 vehicle burglaries. Can anybody guess out of the 16 how many were unlocked vehicles?
Every single one.
Close. Last night, Silver Lakes was every single one, but this one was 14 of the 16 were unlocked vehicles. 2 of them were smashed vehicles, one being at Towngate Park. The other one was stuff that we leave out in the open that entices criminals to say, you know, break into my car, smash my window, and take me. That was the one that was in the community. The one in the community, the Mahogany Way had 4 unlocked vehicles, 1 smashed window. I believe Mahogany Way led yes, they did. I'm looking at my notes, sorry. They did lead in vehicle burglaries for the past year. Now, I usually go into all my topics about crime prevention, but folks, if you can, and Mr. Card, if you could like educate your residents as much as you can on lock your vehicles, please. I mean, in our social media manager puts out constantly, you know, do the 9 p.m. check to make sure your doors are locked of your vehicles. I know one stolen vehicle inside Towngate was an unlocked vehicle, which had the key fob in there, and they stole the vehicle. So please, you know, educate your residents on simple crime prevention measures such as locking your vehicle, not leaving your garage door open. It's considered a burglary if they go inside an open garage. It's not a theft if they take anything from the garage. So you did have one residential burglary where the garage door was kept open. I'll go over where the other burglaries were, but you had 4 residential burglaries in the past year, which is that's very low. I don't know if we can contribute that to people staying home due to the pandemic, or just, hey, we're a good police department and we're around doing the best we can preventing those crimes from occurring, or your residents are just being smart and locking doors and everything. So the 4 residential burglaries, the one was the open garage that I said. 2 windows were left open, and one was a pride slider. So that one that the slider was pride, I want to just touch base on real quick, because that's something that you guys can prevent if you educate your community and residents using one of those Charlie bars. The Charlie bar is the bar that goes in the middle, where if someone wants to pry it, it'll give them that much harder and extra security for you guys, where they can't slide that door open, or the little latch on the top that prevents that. So those are some things that can help with that. But I mean, one pride slider for a year is pretty low. So I would like to, you know, congratulate the community on that. So let's go over the unlocked vehicles real quick. Classic Landon had 2. Like I said, Mahogany Way had 4 unlocked, 1 smashed. The Park had the 1 smashed window. Orchid Vista had 2 unlocked vehicle burglaries. One of them was the one that I was telling you about the stolen vehicle with the key fob left inside. Creekside was the one burglary to the residence, where the ladder was left and they climbed up the ladder to the 2nd floor and went in an open window. Creekside didn't have any burglaries to vehicles. Contempo Walk had 1 unlocked vehicle. Classic Vista had the residential burglary, only one where the sliding glass door was left open. Cedar Way had 3 unlocked vehicles. Royal Bay had the Pride slider. So that was the one in Royal Bay that was burglarized with the prize fighter. And Governor's Run had the open garage and one unlocked vehicle burglary. Does anybody have any questions regarding either crime prevention or the numbers for the stolen vehicle or the burglaries?
Officer Feldman, my son, when he parks his car out in the driveway, I always remind him, make sure he brings in his garage door opener, because it's essentially like getting a key to your house that you're leaving in your car. So I always I like to just remind people that, having that garage door opener in your car, if someone should break into it, now they have access to your house. It's one more, it's an opportunity of convenience, right? So if any way they can figure out a way to make it easier to get into your house, they will. So,
of course, and that's part of my crime prevention topics that I talk about. There's a lot of different measures that you can take to help reduce the risk of becoming a victim, and we can't reduce that risk 100%, but there's little things like that, and even taking your key. I can't tell you how many times people have left their key fob in their car and the car has been stolen.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, even close to the car, inside your residence, they could still start the car that way.
Right.
So there's different measures.
Would you say that the fact that we have roving security patrols helps kind of reduce the crime numbers as well?
I would say that anything that it's just like a police vehicle. Anything with presence is a deterrent. So yes, that helps. The number one crime prevention tool is lighting, though. We recommend LED lights. If you have, I don't know who maintains the lighting in all the communities. Is it FPL or is it private, like you guys?
It depends. It depends on the. I think it's primarily FP&L. But
Okay.
But I'm not entirely sure. Stephanie, maybe you can correct me.
Yeah, in the front of the communities, it's the communities that maintain that. But inside, it's the FPL.
So one second, let me talk about the lights. So the lighting, we recommend shoebox type fixtures. Is the lighting that faces down, LED. That's the number one crime prevention tool. So if you don't have that with FPL, my community, I live out in West Summer Pines, we petitioned FPL to come and replace all our yellow lights to LED lights. If it's the communities that maintain them on their own, switch to LED lights. That's the number one crime prevention tool. That and knowing your neighbors. So go ahead with that other question. I'm sorry.
If you can, this is a question because I know a few of the board members kept asking a reference to how do you work with the security here? Like if you guys get a call, do you notify the security here? I mean, do they assist you in any way? I mean, I know the answer to that, but if you can educate the rest.
Okay, so I don't know the answer to that. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know if what is the contract with you guys have with the security? Are they to notify police department on certain things and not certain things? If the police department, I could say for myself, if I was to respond to a call, I don't go looking for the security guard to let them know that I was in there. That wouldn't be something that we do. It's just like notifying, the property manager. I mean, we wouldn't go look for somebody to let them know. That would be up to the victim, in my opinion, and professional experience. If you want to notify and I would definitely tell all your residents that call the police before they call your security company to report something. And if the resident reports it to the security department, then that would be good. But we wouldn't, as police officers, go look for a security guard to report what had just occurred. But, tell your residents, hey, we want to know what's going on. So please let your either your board president know, or if you have a crime watch, just share that information, because that's a good tool to use on preventing crime, is sharing information with each other. Does that somewhat answer your question?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Okay,
Any
sir.
other
Hello?
questions?
Hear me?
Yep. Who's
Hello?
that? Yeah.
Is it Ray? Hello?
Hey, Rui, we can hear you now.
Okay, good. Police officer, thank you very much for coming. And
Thank you for
this
having me.
topic, we have for the security topic since May, because there is one incident that there's a robbery incident happened at Royal Bay in February. and it's around 7:30 p.m. And a lot of homeowners saw the police car arrive, and then they asked me, because homeowners thought I am on board, so they asked me what happened, and unfortunately, we pay every year 400,000 and 500,000. I asked our management company and our security company. Nobody can give me any information, and even in the security report, they didn't mention this robbery incident. So
Okay, what's the date? What's the date?
I can tell you exactly. It's February 7:30 p.m. around 7:30 p.m. The exact date
Okay.
I still need to ask the neighbors. So we
Okay,
really want to solve that problem. You okay? Go ahead.
Okay, so I have right here one of was it February 15th?
Probably it's around February before March.
15618 Northwest 12th Court.
It's Northwest 12th Court. I know. I don't exactly know. I didn't
So
see
that-
the police car. Yeah.
That wasn't a robbery. That was a burglary.
A burglary.
And that the difference between a robbery and a burglary,
Okay.
I can educate you on if you like. But that was the sliding glass door that was pried. Now the police department does an area canvas and they try to get information from residents, but we don't necessarily go up to anybody and let them know, hey, this occurred. That's what we do the crime statistics for, and that we can pull it. If it's that concerning to the residents where we feel the need that it's going to benefit the public, if it's a serious incident, I promise you, not only are we going to tell Ms. Sicard or the presidents or everybody in Towngate or the whole city for that matter, but we would also blast it out on our social media. So us coming to your quarterly meetings, we're going to provide you the stats. But if it wasn't a serious incident, we're not going to go notify everybody of that incident that occurred, because we handle several incidents during the years, and we don't just notify people of those incidents. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, but you said every quarter or you can give us a report, because we
Sure.
do, as a board member, we do want to still, our security is not bad. I agree with you, but we still have a lot of space we can still improve. I heard another homeowner here told me during Christmas time, her house get robbed or burgled. Well, we do have several incidents, even it's not 100, still we need to pay attention. We want to improve that. But
Yes,
very
I'm sorry.
appreciate that your information.
You're welcome, and by all means, Ms. Sicard, I've spoken to her before. I don't know if you remember me, Stephanie, but we spoke on the phone when I was updating all our list on the property managers of the. So myself, we're in our community affairs unit. We do a lot of things in the public. We'll be more than happy to come out to attend your meetings quarterly. Provide you with crime prevention material, the crime statistics for that quarter. Please, reach out to us and give us some time. What am I looking for? Notice. I'm sorry. Give us some notice, a couple weeks before, so we don't have to do it last minute, and we're available for you guys.
Appreciate
But
it.
by all means, we'd be more than happy to. But myself, Officer Salinas, Officer Curbello, and Officer Miro, one of us will definitely attend the meetings if another one isn't available. But please, utilize us. That's what we're here for, and we're more than happy to help. We don't know all the answers. I don't think anybody in this world knows all the answers to everything, but it takes a village to make something work and help reduce crime. So please reach out to us. Before I go, I know you guys have a long meeting. Is there any more questions? Because I just want to go over a couple more things that we're doing in the community within the next couple months. Is there any other questions in regards to the crime stats or crime prevention or any other police department matter?
You got 2 minutes left.
Perfect. 2 minutes is all I need.
All right.
All right. So tomorrow, I know you all want to come back and see us because we're starting again. So it's Coffee with a Cop. Your chance. There's no agenda. It's at Culata Cuban Bakery at the City Center from 8:30 in the morning to 9:30. There's no agenda, no specific topics. Just come out and grab a cup of coffee on the house if you can, and say hi to your local police officers. On August 5th, we are having Smoothie with a Cop at the Smoothie King inside City Center. from 12 to 1:30. Come out and just socialize with your police officers, your local police officers, and ask any questions. No agenda there as well. This is very important. August 7th, Saturday, August 7th, is our shred-a-thon. It's for residents only, from 9 p.m. to 12 a. 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at City Center parking lot. Two boxes maximum. Please have your ID and your water bill or water bill on your front dash. Leave the boxes in the back of your car or trunk. We will take it out and dump it in there. But it's for Pines residents only because we haven't had it in such a long time. We think that we'll be getting a lot of people coming for that. That's August 7th from 9 to 12. Pines Night Out is back October 29th, Friday night. The big event, the biggest event that we have in the year. There's a lot of different things. I'll send Stephanie and everybody, property manager in the city, that flyer once we get that ready. But it's a huge event at City Center. And then we are starting our Citizens Police Academy again on August 19th. I believe that class is filled, but we host them twice a year. So if you want to attend our 15-week program at the police department, please go online at ppines.com under Community Affairs, our Police Department Community Affairs, and fill out one of those applications. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Officer Feldman,
Thank
and
you very
thank
much.
you to your son for letting him to use his iPad to join us tonight.
Yeah.
Stephanie, can you follow up with Officer Feldman to make sure we have all those dates and times so that we can send it out to everybody for
Yes,
mass distribution?
Steph, either email me or call me tomorrow in the office,
Okay.
or come get a cup of coffee with me at 8:30.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it. Take
Have
care.
a great night.
Be safe out there.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Okay. Moving on. So I just want to quickly just touch base on this. Originally, this was going to be a live meeting, but we didn't realize until I think Thursday or Friday that the rec center where we were going to have the meeting does not have Wi-Fi available. So that's why we decided to hold this as a virtual meeting. I apologize for the confusion. Our next meeting, I believe, will be an in-person meeting, depending on how this virus is going. It seems to be kind of ramping up again. So just kind of stay tuned and watch for what the next steps are. So just pay attention to the emails as they come out, because we will let you know what the conveyance that we will go through in terms of the meetings. So I'm going to move us right into old business. It's 7:30 now. I would like us to be.
Sorry, I apologize. Did you did your president report or you just did it?
What I said was I was waiving it to let the police officer do his presentation in essence of time. So that was my president's report was about the meeting. So moving on, I want to move to the old business part of our agenda. And it's like I said, I started to say it's 7:30 now. Let's try to shoot to be done with this part of the agenda by 8 p.m. so that we can have enough time for residents to join in and ask questions or make comments at the end. And I'd like to give them at least an hour to do that. So can we please try to stay right on target? I might start to push us a little bit to kind of keep it very, very close. So just kind of hang in there with this. The first thing up on our old business is the Comcast construction update. Stephanie, is that you giving us the update?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is the latest update that I received from Comcast on Monday. We have a few communities that are actually complete. They're done with restoration. They're done with construction. They have the in-home fiber, so they're done. But Comcast is still working on the remaining communities that were impacted by construction. They're still addressing everything that's on the tracker list. Right now, they're focusing on the list, but they are also addressing escalations that come from me. So if you want to check on the status of your repair, or if you just have been waiting for a while and you want to know what's going on, just send me an email and I'll escalate it to the on-site supervisor. Comcast did want me to let everybody know that as they're going to be doing installations and moving you guys to the new fiber network, they may encounter some issues relating to bad fiber or damaged fiber, and that will result in having, needing to have repairs done. If you see any underground excavation, that's only required if there's damages to the conduit. There's not a lot of people that have that, maybe one or two right now. But if you do see them doing heavy digging, that's what it is. It's some type of damage. Other than that, they also have gotten additional crew members to help push the process going. We know that a lot of you guys have been on this list waiting, so they have added additional crew members to push restoration and to have them address the remaining restorations. But basically, at the end, all communities are going to have a final walkthrough. We're going to do the final walkthrough with myself, with the manager of the sub, and any board members that may want to attend. And just, we're just going to stay on top of Comcast and ensure that they don't leave before all of the work is done. So they're pushing through the list. We know that you guys have been waiting a lot. Like I said, if you feel that you have been waiting a long amount of time, just send me an email so I can escalate it to the on-site supervisor.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Stephanie on the Comcast update? This is for board members for right now, okay? Any board members? Okay, none?
Rudy's
No, I raised my hand.
Yes, sorry, I can't see you because I don't see your screen.
I raised
Go
my
ahead.
hand, and I have to talk. Okay.
That's fine. I just didn't see you. That's all.
Good. Okay. I forgive you. So I understand you said we are around time. We have to rush. But this is an important topic. I think I do have some complaint. Heard some complaint from homeowners. So I think why we not I will suggest to invite some homeowners now to participate and give us their feedback about this Comcast construction.
I would like us to just table that part of the conversation to the end, so if people have issues, they can communicate it to us. But we've got issues that we need to address here, so I'd like to keep us on track. So,
That's fine.
anything else from the board at this point on Comcast?
No, I think that, once we hear some more comments, because I know there are some complaints from the last meeting as well, about the service reliability, and maybe we should send a letter from management letting them know that we are not happy with the progress or the speed of addressing this project. It's not being handled professionally, I believe. So I think we should consider that.
Okay, I think it's a good idea, and let's get some feedback from the residents in terms of what, if we could get kind of a rolling count almost of, it's restoration issues or it's connectivity issues or whatever. If catalog them as those seem to be some of the more primary conditions and concerns that people are complaining about.
I agree.
Okay. Anything else from board members now on Comcast? Yeah, Bruce.
Okay.
Rudy and I had a conversation with the individual who negotiated the contract between Towngate and Comcast, and she had stated something to the effect that there was a modification to the contract that was not part of the signed document, and we had requested information from her as to exactly what that modification was and how it was presented to the board, and we have not heard back from her. So I'm just going to ask Stephanie to please follow up to find out what the status of that document was and why we're not receiving that information after they told us it would be provided. This is the individual that Towngate paid to negotiate the contract. I realize this doesn't have anything to do with the ongoing issues of repairs, but I just wanted to make sure that it was part of the record.
Okay, and in fact, it may have something to do with the ongoing repairs. So I agree. If you and Rui were promised some kind of document, we need to see that, because you guys met with them, I think, a month ago.
Bruce, I know that she was supposed to give you guys RFPs, but what was the other document that you mentioned? She said that there was a modification to the.
She had alluded to the fact that there was a change just prior to the signing of that document that we're not aware of. And I was just requesting clarification of that. And she said that she would provide it to us. And I know that Rui has asked her on several occasions and we have not heard back.
Okay, I'll follow up tomorrow.
Okay. Anything else on the Comcast topic?
So, Paul,
Go ahead, Rose.
because I do want to make a motion about the Comcast contract, but I want to hear the homeowners, opinion and their experience or their concern first. So if you don't want to invite the homeowner now to express their concern, I will make a motion later on, during the Q&A session. So I hope you will agree.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Anything else on this topic? Okay.
Oh, and one thing I confirm what Bruce said, and there's actually more document that she promised will give us. But one of them is she claimed that there is a fiber to the home update to the Comcast contract. And very interesting is she pretended to send us. She said, please see my attachment. And then I answered her immediately, where is the attachment? And I asked her another week. And like now, after 1 month, this attachment is just mystery missing. So that is really, you really feel she must be deceiving us.
Okay. We need to follow up with her for sure. Okay. Thanks, Rui. Anything else now? Okay. Residents, we will, for the rest of the people on, we will, as long as we get through this agenda real quick, we'll come back to this. So just keep a note for yourself. Next up on the list is the forensic audit. We're going to have that discussion about forensic audit. Just to remind everyone, this is where we had left it. There were some companies that had apparently have expressed some interest in conducting a forensic audit. I think we've subsequently had some back and forth discussion about what's the end game to all of this, and I'll share what my concerns have been. Is that the potential for if there were issues to collect money back from things like a roof that may have been done, that there was some question as to whether it was approved or not, or the playgrounds. I think it's my understanding if the work was conducted and paid for, there's little or virtually no likelihood that we would reclaim any of those dollars. So that was kind of the back and forth I think we were having about, is it worth the substantial amount of money that it would most likely run into to conduct a forensic audit? And that's kind of how we left it. Bruce, you have your hand up.
I think that Stephanie is working on a report that basically will detail the information that Rui had requested with regard to the expenditures. If that document can be conveyed to the board in the near future, I think it will clean up a lot of the issues that have been brought forward regarding these expenditures from the reserves. Not to recover any money, but there has to be some explanation as to where these dollars were spent and how the approval process was made. Go ahead, Rui.
I'll let Chris talk first. I also say so. Chris, I talk too much. I apologize.
Thanks, Rui. Well, one of the questions that I had was related to that, Bruce. I wanted to make sure we reviewed everything and get all the details as it relates to the times when the board approved these expenses, and of course the actual expense amount as it relates to the reserves, because those were the big questions. And I believe Stephanie is working on that. We've had a lot of them answered, but there was one outstanding item. And just for everybody's knowledge as well, a lot of times the board makes approvals in 1 year, because if it's the end of the quarter that year, that approval might have been made in 2018, but the actual work gets done in 2019. So you have to go back to 2018 to find the approval for that. And so a lot of that is what is happening. So I asked Stephanie go as far back as 2017 or 16 so that we have the full picture and ensure that, you know, something that was approved in one meeting but brought back up and then executed later on, that we have the full picture of when it was approved and the actual work time and the amounts.
I think going forward, that anytime we actually cut a check for a vendor, that there should be some kind of notation on the registry with regard to when that particular expenditure was approved.
Perfect.
It would make cross-referencing these things a lot easier, and I think it would answer a lot of questions.
Perfect. I agree.
Okay, so Bruce, I know that Stephanie worked on a project, but that is already 1 month. So I want to know that when is the deadline? You know, that is time. Time is money. You know, so can Stephanie give us a deadline when she will submit her project report?
So I'm having to go back from 2017 until 2021. So there are about 500 or more items. I started off with 2016, but it was over 1,000 items, and that's going to take a while. So I'm moving along, but you know, let's hope that by this Friday that I can give you guys something. But it is a lot of items to have to go back into the minutes from 2016 and try to match them up to whatever was spent. So it's taking me some time, but you guys will get it. You know.
This Friday. Okay, noted. And the second
promises, Rui, but I will try to get it by this Friday.
At least the first step. I appreciate it. Thank you. And Chris, thank you that you have very good point that we have to consider the cross year. And I think, you know, the smart, you have good point. So in my research, I do consider 2018, 19, and 20. You know, I'm not just looking 2019. So let's see. Let's only talk about this one company, DEO. Okay, how much money the association spent on DEO without board approval in 2018? 25,587. How much money do the association spend on them in 2019? $331,045. How much money we spend on them without board approval in 2020? $29,295. So if you look at these 3 years, we already across the year. So you cannot say how because we 2018 approved a lot of things they did in 2019. It's not this case. I already considered this one, but it's a good point. I have to say, admit.
No
okay.
problem.
Now I want to come back to answer Paul's question. Paul states that when the work is done, then it's done. We can do nothing. I want to ask Paul, did you check their invoice? What kind of work did they done? And actually, Stephanie suggested that I should ask you about my request of the DEO invoice. And did you instruct Stephanie not to send us the 45 DEO invoice that I requested?
Can I respond to this, Paul?
Yeah, I don't even know what you're asking me, Roy, but go ahead, Stephanie.
Stephanie said you blocked me.
Rui made a request that I get her the 58 invoices from DEO that were approved by the previous board and from work that was done. So what I tried to explain to her is that the project that I'm working on for Chris and Paul already will include that information. So that's already going to be provided to you when I'm done with the project.
And actually, what I requested is 18 days ago. So that is invoices is the official record. Every homeowner can ask. And if the homeowner asks, you have to provide in 10 business days. Otherwise, the association has to pay a fine for each day being late, right? So I asked you actually 18 days ago. And the job, even you just search DEO, find all 300 invoice, give me, I don't mind. I can find the 58 invoice. And that will not cost you several minutes. And especially, I don't understand. I asked them that several months since the beginning. Why you cannot give me the read access to the invoice system? I'm not asking to approve the invoice. I'm not asking this authority, but just to look at the invoice. I can help your work. I just want to help you.
Rui, there's already 2 board members that are assigned to that, which are Paul and Ronnie. So that's not a really a decision that I would make. That's for you to
But
discuss.
I'm only asking for read access. I'm not asking for write or approve anything. Just read. I think every board member should have the read access, you know, and Paul and Ronnie has the right authority to approve the invoice, but everybody else can look at the invoice.
Again, that's not a decision for me to make, Rui.
Yeah, so I think you're gonna. I mean, it part of the request that you're making, Rui, and I understand the time frame is a part of what we requested in general, based on the statements that you made about the reserve expenses that we couldn't validate when they were approved by the board. It started with 1.4 million, and so we've found items of when certain things have been approved. And so this is continuing in that request. So I don't think it's a separate request. But I think if Stephanie's working on it, it's just to work on it for all of us. She's working on it for the entire board. It's not just Paul or me or you. It's Bruce and Ronnie as well. So it's all of us that we're working on this to get this explanation. And if she says on Friday she'll have it, or if she'll have something to send to us, I think we'll get that. And let's
Yes,
let's
Friday
get
is
that so we
okay.
can review it. Okay.
Again, Rui, I did not promise to have it by Friday. I do have daily tasks that I do have to attend to, as well as this. This is not the only thing that I do throughout the day, but as I said, I will try to get you guys something.
Yeah, just get us something on Friday, even if it's halfway done. At least we'll have that in hand. I think that's progress. Go ahead, Rui.
I need to have the 58 DEO invoice by Friday. That will not take you 1 hour or even several minutes. And Chris, I agree you request some official record or a difficult project, but this is not the reason any board member block my official record request.
Oh, no. Nobody's blocking any request. It's this
Chris,
part made.
Sorry. Stephanie, can you provide me the 85 invoice by Friday, or give me the read access of the invoice system by Friday?
Again, that's not a decision for me to make. That's something that you're going to have to discuss with the board if they want to allow you to have access to Avid.
I have a motion that Stephanie or FSR give me the read access to the invoice system to all board member. Okay, to all board member. I have this motion.
Is that your motion?
Yes, that is my motion.
Do I have a second?
I don't need it.
Then give to me. I need it.
Well, I mean, I think your 58 invoices, you can. I mean, I think that's fine. But I don't know.
Stephanie said she's too busy. She cannot give me the 58, so I don't want to bother her. Just give me the.
I second her motion.
What did you say? Sorry.
For second the motion.
Good.
Yep.
So we have a second. The motion is that. Let me just be clear on what the motion is. The motion is that Rui has access to the invoice.
No, all board members.
Yeah, all board members.
Sorry, all board members.
Read access.
Is that the motion?
Yes.
Yep.
Rui? That all board members have access to. Do you
Let's
want to
go
restate
ahead
it?
and let Rui state her motion
Yeah.
for the record.
Yes. That first service gives the read, R-E-A-D, read access to all board member to the invoice system.
And okay, do you have that? And we have a second from Bruce.
Mhm.
Any discussion?
No, that's fine.
I'm just gonna weigh in on this, Rui. I just have to say this. I do not have a lot of time to answer a bunch of questions about every single invoice. So please, can you do me a favor and just, if you want to review them, that's fine.
Okay.
But I really, as it is to keep up with everything, it's a lot of work, and I'm just please begging you.
I will not ask you. I will not ask you, Paul. Okay. But if I find some big wrongdoing financially, I will ask our management company. Okay.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
But understand that. But understand that also. If they get bogged down in looking for explanations for every single thing, reflecting back to minutes and so on, it's going to get to be a laborious project, and there's a lot of things that need to get done. I
Okay.
believe this is the genesis of why, the entire board doesn't have ready access to that for that very reason. So I just want to point that out. So
Okay.
we have a motion, we have a second. Any other comments? Stephanie?
I know that you guys are going to make the motion, but tomorrow I have to confirm that Avid has the ability to give the read-only access. So,
Which
I'll-
software did you use?
tomorrow.
Which software did you use, Stephanie? You said Epic?
The association uses Avid.
Avid.
Okay. So can we have, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Say
Aye.
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 Bruce? Chris?
Yep.
Ronnie?
Aye.
Okay.
Rui, is that you are voting yes, I assume?
Of course, I vote for my motion.
Okay. Well, but I just need to hear your vote.
Okay.
Ronnie?
Aye.
Ronnie, do you have a vote? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Ronnie? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
I vote yes. Okay.
Good.
Motion passes. Okay. Moving
Let's
on.
move on.
Moving on.
One more thing,
are we
Paul,
done?
excuse me. Still about forensic audit. Oh, I apologize. I still have one because this
Okay.
is really the big topic, and like Chris mentioned, that a lot of work need to do to find out what happened, right? But we do know something happened because on our reserve fund is missing $1.4 million. And so I have the motion to add required disclosure statements to our 2020 annual financial report because our reserves are not fully funded. That is my motion, period.
I'm sorry. Could you restate the motion? It kind of broke up a little bit.
Okay, add required disclosure statements to our 2020 annual financial report because our reserves are not fully funded.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Wait, can you repeat the motion, Rui? I didn't understand.
Okay, maybe okay. Let me see. So because about the audited financial report 2020, yeah, according to our bylaw and Florida statutes, we are required by our bylaw to provide this to the homeowner by the end of March. But I just checked the residential portal. We still not provided to the homeowner this audited financial report 2020. And according to Florida statutes, we are required by Florida statutes 720-3036.
Rui, can you just state the motion, please?
Okay, the motion
Thank
is
you.
basically to include the Florida statutes request certain disclosure statement about our reserve. The motion is add the law required disclosure statements to our 2020 annual financial report because our reserves are not fully funded.
So, okay. Do you have that, Stephanie? The disclosures, the disclosure statements added to the audit that we do annually, correct?
For the homeowners. Yes.
Right. I got you.
That is our obligation.
I understand. So is that to say that we don't have disclosures right now?
No, you don't have the law requested. The language has to be done in compliance with Florida statutes and has to be all in they have a lot of regulations. You need to all in capitalized letters. There's a special paragraph. I can send you later what is the Florida statute.
All right. All right.
720-3036.
Does the board understand the motion?
We do.
Any seconds to it? Any seconds?
That is our obligation.
There are no seconds. The motion does not pass. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, just a comment about this. What do you think our obligation is as it relates to the reserves based on the fact that the previous board expended funds related to the reserves, which they have the authority to do. That is a part of their responsibility as well.
Yes.
for capital improvements and management. Based on our reserve study, which was done a long time ago, there's a certain amount that should be in the reserves. However, the reserves are to be used to replace capital damages or replace, or, do capital improvements. So if the reserves are being used for those purposes, which they need to be used for to maintain the community, I don't think it's an issue for the reserves to be used for those purposes, because that's what they're supposed to be used for. In terms of funding for the reserves, that's our responsibility as board members to make sure that it's funded for capital improvements. So when the reserve funds are used for capital improvements, then we need to continue to refund it based on the budget to do so. So I'm not seeing a reason to add any statements based on the fact that we haven't done a budget yet to plan for the reserve funding.
Okay.
The
Thank
problem is not about the spend the money. What about the spend right or wrong? The problem is that we are the current board. So the 2020 financial report, this is our responsibility and our obligation to release the 2020 financial report to the homeowners. So on that financial report, you have to tell homeowner, is our reserve fund fully funded? If not fully funded, hey, maybe it's okay. You don't, maybe it's okay, but you have to disclose it. Okay, you have to let the homeowner know. So that is, there's this
Right.
disaster happened just because of the surf side, right?
So
Because
you're saying that are you saying that the annual report that we got from the CPA is not posted? Is that not posted?
It's still not
Stephanie?
posted. Yeah, it's still not posted. And clearly, if we are fully funded, we don't need to have that statement. But the reality, very sad, is we are not fully funded. Maybe you have your argument. Maybe you are right, but we have to disclose it that we are not fully funded.
Okay.
Whether you want to recover or whether there's good reason is, you don't need to care at this moment, but you have to disclose it, and that is not the old board responsibility or obligation. That is our obligation.
Okay. That's good.
Yes.
Stephanie, go ahead.
We have to make sure that it's on the website. Even when it is on the website, it's going to be a private document. So if a homeowner would like to see it, they will still have to request it, and which it can be sent, but they will just have to request it. So they won't be able to see it. It's like as a private document on the website.
No, unfortunately, Stephanie, did you read our bylaw? That is our bylaw special request and also the Florida statutes.
Right. I'm sorry. I'm gonna interrupt here. We got to move on. We've got a lot of things to
That
get
is
to
a very
this.
important
And so
topic.
you made the motion. It did not get a second. So we're moving on. So we're moving on. So we also will come back to the forensic audit after the material is sent by Stephanie when she can get that to us, hopefully by Friday. So we can make a determination whether to move forward with that. Okay, I'm moving on to the next item on the Rui. I'm moving the meeting on. Okay, next up on our old business is a consideration for the irrigation project estimate, which went to board members. I think this week. Did it go this week, Stephanie?
I didn't hear what you said, Paul. You said
The irrigation project estimate.
Is it for this week?
No, I think we got it this week. I'm just saying we just got to look at it.
Sometime last week or early.
It might have been last week. I don't remember. Can you just review it with us once again?
Yeah, definitely. So the estimate is for $2,134.80. It's basic to add 2 zones to the Contempo pool. They have started to pull the plants from that area, and before they can proceed, our irrigation company had to do a wet check, and these were the repairs that were found that need to be done. I believe these were done at the other pools, but Contempo Walk was the only one that was not done, which is why they have to add the 2 zones now.
Okay. Any questions about it from the board? Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the irrigation estimate from Heinz Lonsberger.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion seconded by Bruce. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. Okay, moving on. Tempo Walk Landscaping Project. I think that came in today, no? Or am I making stuff up? I'm sorry.
No, that was, I think it's the owner sent me an email about a month ago. I just had to wait to put it on the board meeting agenda. Basically, there's a hedge in Contempo Walk. It's on two sides. In the middle, there's no hedge. So there are like, people that don't live here that are walking through the hedge. So they would, the recommendation that our landscaper gave is that we can add a hedge in the middle just to connect it so it's a continued hedge so that they don't continue to walk through there.
Do we have an estimate on that cost?
That is for $1,662.50. That's to include 15-gallon calusias. On the estimate, DEO also wrote that if you guys want to save money, instead of doing 15-gallon calusias, which are the larger plants that can probably fill it up quicker, you guys could do 5-gallon calusias for a cheaper price.
Yeah, my feeling is we should go the bigger ones only because if people keep cutting through, they'll destroy the growing hedges. If we go further with this.
What is the distance that we're trying to broach with these plants? Do we have any idea of?
Let me see here. You said what is the distance?
Yeah, how wide is the opening?
Give me one moment. Let me see.
From the picture, it looked pretty substantial.
Yeah, it's a large space. So let me see if he included it in the on the estimate.
I'm just from the look of it, it looked like 25, 30, maybe 40 feet.
That much? Wow.
Yeah, it was a pretty substantial cut through.
Space. So it's to install 15-gallon calusia hedges at Contempo Walk from end of the hedge on berm to the lake, and then close it off. He needs 35 of them. So I'm guessing it's a substantially large area. He needs 35 plants, 35 of those calusias to fill that section.
Any other?
Well, if what Paul is saying is accurate with regard to the estimated distance that needs to be covered, the estimate is probably appropriate. But I think in the future, just so we have an appropriate amount of information to make that kind of call, I just need to get an idea of, whether it really needed 10 plants, 30 plants. There's not enough information for me. So, but if Paul substantiated that distance, I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, we got a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Ronnie seconds. Any further discussion?
I have further discussion. So I agree with Bruce said that this certainly comes this topic. But if you read all the minutes from the past several years, actually the old board did their homework. They talk this kind of topic, the border of our community. They talked many times. This topic, they really did their homework. They might go there to measure, and they discuss a lot. So some maybe they approve, some don't approve. But this information just come to us. Nobody goes there personally, and Paul sent yesterday, and we just approve something. And I don't think we did enough homework. And even that is not a big amount of money. And I understand that homeowner's concern, and I do really feel sorry for her. But however, Stephanie wrote in the email, the hedges she's referring to were removed quite a while ago because they were at the end of life. So first, that doesn't sound like an emergency for me, that is many years already like that. Second, I wonder whether the hedge is, that can only last for a few years as the best solution for this problem. Why is it we used to have that hedge, and for some reason somebody has to remove it, and now we have a new one, and in several years we remove again. And what is the purpose of that? Like Stephanie said, the people might still go through that. Maybe we can find a better solution to achieve the goal. If your goal is like a kind of security, should belong to our security concept, that not let people get in. maybe we have better solution. And why we just, we didn't exactly know what is the purpose and what is all the scenario, and we just choose a solution that I don't think to table this topic and to explore our other option.
Thank you, Rui. I will suggest that I believe I read in the post about it that the hedges were damaged in the hurricane and were torn apart because of the hurricane. So that's what caused the damage and the reason why the rest of those hedges or shrubs had to be removed. And they've just never been replaced. That's my understanding. So there was originally shrubs there and they were damaged by a hurricane. So
where did you read that? I didn't read that. You said
yeah.
It's in the email from the owner.
I'm sorry, what?
I think it was in the email from the owner.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I read that. So that's really the rationale for it. We just had the police officer in earlier in the meeting talking about security and so on. And I think, we know that the crimes he's talking about are crimes of opportunity mostly, and people wandering around the neighborhoods and so on. So I would like us to vote on this. We do have a motion and a second. And we are in discussion. That's fine. And Rui, you make very good points. You're right. But, and maybe we should be, considering, some alternatives for the future. But, if in fact there are people who are cutting through there, Rui, to back up what you're saying, I mean, maybe the other question is, has security weighed in on it? Has security said, hey, we know that this is an access point issue and people are wandering in and out who shouldn't be? I don't know. I think that's a reasonable discussion to have, right?
Exactly, because we don't know. We need to go there in person and maybe talk to the security person whether there is some way that we can more secure. I don't think some hedges will really secure. The secure people, they can, even you have a real some storm, maybe they can jump in. You expect some plan to prevent the real crime?
Yeah, I could definitely see your point, Rui.
Is it a cosmetic consideration as well?
So I think it's a little bit of both, Bruce. Not only because people are walking through that area, it's kind of created like a walking trail, so you can kind of see where the grass is flattened all the way down.
There's a path.
Yeah,
there's been a path burned into the grass.
They're walking right in between the two of those hedges.
So it's almost as if it's directing people to cut through. Oh,
So, I don't understand. I'm confused. Is the crime people walking in or the homeowner walking in? So now
it's
you're trying to prevent
homeowners.
the homeowner or prevent some stranger people.
Yeah.
What's the purpose?
I think it's anyone and everyone that's cutting through there. I think
that's right.
Who knows? It could be visitors. It could be just people walking by or whatever, running. Working out, that kind of thing. I don't know the answer to.
And I think in some cases, of course, when we're considering these items, it's about what can we best implement, because of course we have to consider not just what we can implement, but also the cost of it, right? And sometimes as a board, we're gonna be faced with the challenge of saying, hey, you know what, this is more cost effective and it gives us some of the measures that we need. It doesn't give us all of the measures. So
all right, I'm going to call the question just to move this along. I'm going to call the question for a vote. We do have a motion and a second. We have discussion. I'm going to close discussion and ask for a vote.
One last thing, only
Yes.
one sentence. We should talk to the SAP association, I think. They know their local thing better.
Noted.
Okay. So, any further discussion? Okay. Vote. All those in favor?
No, I'm not.
Aye.
Aye. Rui, you say no? Is that a no?
No, I say no.
Okay, so that's 4-1 no. Okay, moving on. Thank you. And Rui, good points. Let's Bruce too. I think going forward, for these kind of requests, let's do this. This is what I suggest: is we do get some kind of confirmation from the sub that says, "Hey, yeah, we're in agreement that this is an issue." Number two, let's get more details about what the scope of the work is. so that we can be better informed. And then the third part is what other alternatives have been researched, and are there other alternatives?
Right.
Just that we have that.
Right.
Yeah,
All right,
agreed.
going on. So tree trimming proposal. You know, we are in hurricane season. There is a tree trimming proposal out that we looked at. Stephanie, can you give us a little more detail on it? I'm kind of forgetting how much it was, and I think it was for the palm trees or something only, right?
Yeah, this is for the palm trees. The estimate is for $29,000. We usually do the extensive annual tree trimming, and I believe it's usually $64,000 or around 59 or something like that. Because most of the trees have been maintained, they don't really need a extensive tree trimming. So if we push the tree trimming for the palm trees, then DO will go back around and will just address some of the trees that are hanging over, and we won't have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for those remaining trees.
Okay.
Question, Chris?
Yeah, well, as a part of the contract, they do the regular trimming of the trees for the 8 feet, right? Is that correct? Okay. I'm just a little concerned because we're about to send out the RFP for landscaping. What time frame do we normally do the palm trimming? Is it before now or when?
So that was, this should have been done already, to be very honest. The delay kind of came from the whole RFP situation because the vendor didn't want to proceed because he's contracted with us, he does the tree trimming at a cheaper price at a discounted price, I should say. So his thing was that, how about we wait to do tree trimming after a vendor has been picked? But, I said to him that we need to get this going, so you need to provide us with an estimate. So that's kind of where that came from.
Okay. Right. Well, I would be concerned as well, right? Because if I would figure if we select a vendor, then we'd want that vendor to do that, right? Do the tree trimming going forward. So it'd be interesting to, do that beforehand, but that's all. So the time frame is normally done in what, March or April?
No, the passport, I believe they did it in the end of May, early June.
End of May. Okay. Right. All right. So that'd be helpful so that we can always be prepared for that, right? Just to not wait too long to get that.
Well, it's also in preparation for hurricane season.
Right.
If you've got a lot of palm fronds that are hanging around out there, they start swinging around and become, projectiles. They can get a little dangerous. So it's really preventative maintenance, if you will. Any other questions for Stephanie? Okay. Can I have, is there a motion to accept this? Any motion? I will move it. Any second?
I'll go ahead and second it, but is this going to be part of the RFP going forward? We do a rather substantial contract with our landscaping people that the concept of all these little add-ons of things that are repetitive.
Yep.
We know that we always trim our palms before hurricane season. That really needs to be part of what we're asking these vendors for as part of the package.
I agree. Including, including any fertilization, any mulching, all of that stuff needs to be included because it's the maintenance, right?
So just a clarification, most vendors, they don't typically include tree trimming. That's always, most of the time, a separate proposal. Most landscapers, if you have them under contract, they'll be under contract just to trim the lawn, do the hedges, and basic things like that. But all these other things are usually added on, even with another company.
So I guess the point was that DO was giving us a discounted price because they were doing the landscaping contract with us. But having said that, I think it behooves us to kind of be cognizant of that as we go forth, and what are the typical add-ons that get thrown in
Yep.
You know, like the mulching and the, you know, those things that are kind of later on. And say, oh, gee, there's another 60,000 that we hadn't, you know, we may have budgeted for, but it's kind of like, whoa, that,
Yeah.
I thought that was done, but you know, it's a valid point.
Yeah, yeah. We need to get the best value out of whatever our contracts.
Right.
You know, going
So
forward.
just to move this one, we have a motion, a second. I'm going to open for a vote. All those in favor, signify by saying
Paul.
yes. Sorry, Rui. Go ahead.
After somebody second, actually, it's a discussion.
Right. No, we were in it. I didn't.
Yeah.
The problem is I can't see you, so I don't know when
I
you.
don't know why you, because I have two. Me, the other one,
It's just a
some
blank
people,
screen. It just says.
technically-
Yeah, one's a voice and one's a picture.
Yeah.
She's in there. I see her.
Yeah, I hope so. And very good point, I have to say, Bruce. And I did a lot of calculating later on our topic of 5G landscaping RFP. You will hear some very interesting number. And regarding to this topic, 5E tree trimming proposal, I mean, I have to vote yes. You know, I think it's time to do that. But I vote yes. I want to put my statement in the minute that the management company refused my request to solicit competitive bids and find alternative landscaping companies for those jobs outside the current DEO contract. At this time, we have no other choice but to go ahead with this proposal. I do not appreciate that we did not get options from management.
So just to clarify too, also in regards to the tree trimming, something that you mentioned, Bruce. So it's not part of the contract, but that's why we budget. That's why it's part of the budget. So we have a budget line item specifically for tree trimming, you know, and then we have another budget line item for landscaping extras. So it kind of is budgeted for.
Okay, I mean, as long as it's a line item, a budget line item, I'm just trying to get away from all of these miscellaneous invoices of things that are unbudgeted, that could be budgeted. It just makes the accounting and the questions that come to the surface much easier to explain.
Okay.
So if it's not part of the main landscaping contract, but it is a line item, that line item should be solicited for bids
Exactly.
in the future.
All the XR job will always go to one company without any competitive bid.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
We have.
I agree.
Okay, I'm gonna call the question. So we have a motion, a second. Any other discussion? Okay. Let's do a vote. Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion passes. MRTA, which is the Marketable Record Title Act, is the next thing up on our list. I believe that we have a question from the attorney, and correct me if I'm wrong, Stephanie. My understanding is he has asked us to approve an expenditure so that the existing documents don't just go away at the 30-year mark. We have lead time, as I understand it, but we just don't want to be in a position where, you know, on the 30th anniversary or whatever, that those documents just disappear. I believe that's what the issue is. But Steffi, you got to correct me if I'm way off base on that.
No, you're right, Paul. We basically tabled it last meeting just because I guess, you know, they wanted to further discuss, but that was basically what I explained at the last meeting, that the documents that we signed were simply to preserve our documents so that when the 30-year mark hits, we just don't have any documents to enforce, you know? So we still have time to change the governing, to discuss what you guys want to change as far as the governing documents. But what we signed was simply just to preserve the documents so that we can still have an HOA.
Okay.
If we preserve the documents as is and submit it prior to the 30-year time period, does it limit us to modifying the documents in any way in the future?
Repeat the question, Bruce. I didn't catch it. You said that.
In other words, if we sign this now or prior to the 30-year mark, does it any way limit us for making changes in the documents in the future?
Well, that's a good question. I actually don't know, but I mean, that's something that we can definitely ask Michael Becker to see, if that puts a stop on
I
it.
just want to make sure that we're not locking into something
Yeah,
out of convenience.
right. Now, my understanding is this, that right now, the 3-year, we're in the 3-year window. We do have those 3 years in order to amend the documents. This only locks us in if for some reason we have a complete malfunction and we just never get to doing it in the next 3 years, that at the end of these 3 years, we have nothing. So that's all this does, is my understanding.
Yeah. It sets a baseline of where we could start from if we didn't get the chance to make
Then
it.
it's nothing more than a formality then.
Yeah.
That's my understanding, yes.
But I'll still ask Michael Bender, what happens after the 3-year mark? Do you guys still have the ability to change it after that?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm pretty sure that we do have that capacity.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we are due. But really, for this purpose, for this thing, this is simply just in case we have some complete meltdown as a board and we just don't get to it for whatever reason. And we can change documents, as I understand it, whenever. But we don't get clarification. This really protects us, so that if we do have that malfunction, we just don't have anything, because then it's a free for all. We just that. So
excuse me, Paul. I raised my hand at the last 10 minutes since the beginning.
Okay. I cannot see you, Rui. So I can't see your hand. I can't see any of it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just go ahead and talk, Rui.
Go ahead, Rui.
Okay. So I think, Paul and Stephanie, if you don't know something, you don't need to hear sitting and to say, I think, I guess. Because last board meeting, we already approved a motion that we will ask the lawyer the general questions. Yep. And actually, for the questions that Bruce asked, yes, we can maybe change some document, but we fired this governing document, then it's fired. Then it's another 30 years. Then we lose at least 2 things I can tell you. First, we lose the option that if the majority homeowner decided they don't want master association, they only like their sub association, then homeowner, you lose this option. Then it's master forever. And the second option, Bruce, I told you on our Comcast meeting. With this MRTA, that is one of our biggest leverage to renegotiate with Comcast. So I really wonder why first service, you are conflict of interest with Comcast. You always push the master association to going forward with this MRTA. Yes, we can still change the government document, but the master association is for another 30 years. And the Comcast renegotiation, we will have more difficulty, and our biggest leverage is gone.
Right. So yeah, we did make a motion to ask some general questions about subs and masters and what his points or advice might be, or as it relates to that.
Right. Again, it's my understanding that those questions have gone to the attorney for review. This particular one, and the reason why I hedge what I say is only because I am not the attorney, so I can't speak with absolute authority, but it is my understanding from having seen the emails and the conversation about this that's all this is just to make sure we are not in a position where 3 years from now, if we didn't take care of this, that we have no documents. We can't afford not to have the documents. We just can't afford it. So that's what this is. That's it.
My understanding as well.
Let's set a meeting with the attorney.
We could do that, but we need to move on this, because
No, we
the
don't.
longer we wait,
because we lose 2 other options. Paul, I really don't understand why you in the May board meeting you said clearly we are not in rush. It's a time to discuss with homeowner, and Rachel will send serving to everybody. And Chris said,
Rui, I appreciate your quoting me. But
why
please don't.
you want to fire the same government document?
Rui, please don't quote me and put words in my mouth. I don't appreciate that, and that's not. Yeah, please. That I don't need to do. So I'm asking for this motion. If there's no other conversation, can we have a motion to approve passage of this request?
Which
the
request? Can you state your motion again? Which request?
The motion is to approve the MRTA so that we can preserve our documents as they stand.
So I would like to amend that to include our discussion with the lawyer to get clarification. So, Paul, I'd like to just amend that to include we approve it based on our discussion with the lawyers to get clarification.
Well, then you might as well table it.
Or table it. Well, that's fine.
But I think that has been approved already, Chris.
Which one?
The murder documents, to preserve the
Oh.
documents. That was already approved a few meetings ago.
Who
Okay, so,
approved
yeah.
that, Stephanie? No.
So that must have been in May or April, maybe. I don't know.
I think it was May.
No, we
For,
didn't
for you
approve
guys
it.
to spend the $1,200 for him to draft up the documents just to preserve the
Stephanie,
documents.
did you already file the document?
Excuse me, Rui?
Did you already file the document? Or the lawyer already filed the document?
They were signed, Rui. That was
They were
approved
sent.
at a
Who signed
meeting.
the document? Who sent the document?
Who sends the document?
Yes.
Who signed it?
Who
The
signed
board
it?
president?
Why the president can send the approved? The board hasn't
Rui,
decided. We didn't
that-
approve it. Now we
that was
discuss
approved at
whether
a
we want to
meeting.
approve it.
It was
Now
approved at the
council already
meeting.
said it. Wow.
Yeah, I think it
Oh
you
my
know.
God,
it's
Rui,
fine.
really?
Really?
Come on. Come on. I don't want to go back and forth on this. It was I would not sign something without approval from the board. This,
Then why, I'm sorry, Paul.
So we don't need to
if this
discuss
was,
this then.
if this was approved by the board in a previous meeting,
Yeah.
why is it on the agenda?
Yep.
so what are we voting on for this, Stephanie?
So Paul, the only reason that it was included on the agenda is because at the last board meeting, there was, Rui didn't want to accept that they were simply, the documents that were approved were to preserve the documents. So that's why it was added to the agenda to clarify.
So we don't need a motion.
So
We
there's-
don't
so
even
there's-
need a
We don't need the
motion.
motion.
So
Yeah.
the-
all right.
It's just a point of information.
There's
Yeah.
nothing
Okay,
to
thank
vote,
you.
it was
That
discussion.
is totally wrong. The lawyer
Next.
still send us
Okay,
the
we're
email.
moving
and
on.
How I'm talking, the lawyer still send us the email and said the board should approve that. That is after the May board meeting. Okay, and now you and Stephanie told the board that you already sent the thing, and the lawyer still mentioned we need to invite a homeowner just to participate for something. And then now you told us you already sent this thing. Why we spend? You already fired this document, and oh my God, I really.
Rui, the documents that were signed were just to preserve, and this is a discussion that we were having last meeting. They were just to preserve the documents. The owners
So-
will still have the
Stephanie,
ability.
you know exactly what the master Towngate is losing. You know, the homeowner will have to stick with the master association. We don't have any choice.
I think we need to get clarification on this. And
We are not approved that.
we
Well,
should.
we're not,
get
there's no motion.
clarification.
There's no.
Yeah, there's no motion. So we just need
So
to
we're
meet with
moving on.
the. Yeah, we just need to move on and meet with the lawyers and get clarification.
Okay.
Yes, I agree.
My apologies, because I'm just reading off of my agenda list, and honestly, it's hard
problem.
to stay on top of all this. Okay. Next up, and I apologize to the residents. I thought we would be done. I tried to be done a half hour ago. We got 3 more things, and then we're done. Landscaping security RFPs. That's just a discussion about the status of them. Okay, can you update us?
Yeah, so they were provided to the board a few months, I think a month or so ago, or a month and a half ago. They just need to be reviewed. If there's any changes that need to be made, let me know so I can go ahead and update them. I know that Ronnie is meeting with the security company sometime next week. So you guys may want to get her feedback before moving forward with the security RFP. But other than that,
But can we move forward with the landscaping RFP? If there are no
Unless you have
objections, I
unless
think
you
we
have
need.
to make.
Yeah.
Chris, I have to say, I told you earlier that I have a very
Yeah.
interesting number I want to tell you and the
Yeah.
board. So now
Okay.
you know that this RP, this landscaping is only for like Stephanie mentioned for the basic thing like the maintenance and fertilization. You know. So we are talking about this contract size is about 200,000. You know, In 2019, DEO's official landscaping related contract, the number was 228,000. But do you want to know how much money did the DEO receive related to landscaping from us in 2019? You want to guess which number they received?
I have an idea. Go ahead and read
Yeah,
it.
you have a yes. Can you tell me your idea?
I know landscaping is a major part of the budget. It's about 600 to 800,000 maybe.
Not 800. That is okay. I tell you, $692,645. So almost 700,000 for landscaping work.
Yeah.
And from that, I can tell you how much 350,000 without budget, 331,000 without board approve, and spend ignore reserve restriction 313,000 or 14,000. So now I doubt whether we should sitting here and discuss whether we can, get some save from this 200,000, maybe save a fraction of this annual landscaping workload, or we should create a RFP for the total volume of DEO, the yearly received a year. That is, we discuss 200,000 or 500,000 or 700,000.
Well, the RFP doesn't include the full numbers, right? That's what the vendors are going to provide, right? So the RFP is, this is the work that we want to get done. How much do you think it costs for you to do that work? So I think it's a good idea to send out this RFP and get feedback. If we can include items that are annual, maybe we add that as, hey, these are some of the things that we do annually. That may not be a part of the contract. What would be your costing for those? I think that'd be good for us to get an estimate from them or as relates to that as well, and send this out, because if we intend to benefit from getting a contract, we need to get it in time so that we can make amends to our budget and hence make a benefit to our homeowners, right? If we hold on sending out these RFPs, we're not going to have any numbers to project to help us make a budget that could benefit our homeowners.
Yes, but the business scope in this current RFP do not include the other 500,000. So I move to amend this motion to amend the RFP for the total landscaping spending.
Rui, we don't even have a motion. So if that's, are you making a motion?
The motion is to approve this RFP, right? And so
I don't, was there a motion? I don't know that there was a motion. I think there was a discussion.
Okay, I make the motion to amend this RFP for the total landscaping spending.
To include all services that were provided in the past year, would you say?
Let's say as much as possible. But
Right, yeah, because some of this expenditure is not going to be predetermined, right? But I think any of the annual or regular projects, as Bruce was mentioning earlier, should be a part of it. We could tell them, hey, there's a main contract, and then these are extras, but we need a value for those as well, right?
So we want to compare apples to apples.
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah, and if we need to come back to the vendors and if we discover something that was missing, they can provide us an additional number to their existing RFP so that we make sure that we get an inclusive package.
Yeah.
But the RFP we send has only to be one form. We cannot, this one include banana, the other one include orange. We have to give them one unified RFP.
No, I understand, but we may inadvertently omit something that was a redundant charge from the last 5 years. We need the option of that. Otherwise, we have to create a separate budget line item for that.
Right, agreed. I think in reviewing once we review the information sent by the vendors, we'll be able to make that assessment and see what's going on.
So are we suggesting that we send out this RFP as it stands right now and see what we get? Or... No,
send it out with the additional annual expenses, but we shouldn't hold on this very long. That shouldn't take us very long.
But I think we're going to need to give more direction to Stephanie exactly what we need to include in that RFP. No,
because the only other budgeted items are the tree trimming, and I believe mulching is budgeted as well. But those are the
Mulching.
only other two items.
So include those. Right.
Yeah, why not?
So anything and everything that added up to the $400 and some thousand dollars, right? That we spent in the past year on
700,000 was spent.
right.
So we're including. So can you guys repeat the motion again, just so I can get it clearly?
The motion is to
Just to
send
include.
out, to include the annual expenses
Okay, in the RFPs.
in the RFP.
Okay. So the motion is
Are we sending it out after, or
Oh yeah, I think so.
so to include it and to send it out to the vendors that are going to be bidding?
I would say that.
okay.
I mean,
The other thing, we just we should just kind of see if there was any like a one-time only landscape, like sometimes we have a project for new sod or something at a because irrigation got messed up or something, and that's like a once in the blue moon thing here and there. But it might be difficult to kind of do add-ons like that. I don't know. I mean,
unless the vendor said they'll do that as a part of their maintenance and don't charge us for it extra.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
yeah, I'm sure that's gonna happen.
Well,
If you got discount.
I think we need to make an allotment in the budget for such items. So in addition to the RFP, when we do our budget, we have to take a look at what we routinely add on to
Agreed.
the landscaping annually that falls outside of the RFP.
Right,
Agreed.
and then there's always the issue when we get a storm and then trees go down and we get a hit on that. Those are
Well, I mean, that's when you realistically start tapping your reserves
Right.
is for emergency issues such as that. You can't budget for it.
right, right.
Yep.
Yeah, Steph, you have your hand back up.
Yeah, I sent this to you guys via email, but I just wanted to remind you guys that DEO, even though he does landscaping for us, we also use them for fertilization and the maintenance guy that's here 7 days a week. So we have to take that into consideration as well. I don't know. I'm not really sure how you guys want to.
It's got to be added in. It's got to be added in as that's the service.
I mean, otherwise you don't have apples to apples.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
This is my thing. Not all landscapers can provide that service. So
then
That's
they're not
fine.
gonna then they're not gonna be able to bid on it, or they'll have to figure it out.
so you guys
Yeah.
want that included in there as well, in the contract as well.
Yeah, because that's the
Well,
cleanup.
I mean, if they can't quote that line item, and others can, we need to create a value for the service. In the event that we get a great landscaping RFP, but there's a service that they can't provide, we shouldn't throw the proverbial baby out with the bathwater.
Okay, agreed.
All right. So the motion before the board right now is to make some amendment to the RFP for the landscaping to include all the extras that we have done over the year or years, so that we have a pretty comprehensive. I'm sorry, this motion is like carrying on forever, but we want to make sure that it's a inclusive of all the services that we typically get for landscaping.
Paul, I want to mention
Yes.
that is my motion, and I don't think it makes sense to include the janitary service in this landscaping contract. Then there will be only one company, DEO, can take this job. So that is my motion to amend this RFP to total landscaping spending, include tree trimming, mulch, and all other additional annually regular landscaping service.
That's good.
So that was my question. So do you guys want to just include the extras in the RFP, and then I guess on the side we'll bid out fertilization to a company that specializes in pesticide and fertilization, and then we figure out the whole janitorial services thing?
So current, Stephanie, the current thing we still do, the maintenance and the fertilization, that is the base. And then we want to include the tree trimming and the mulch, all the other that we can budget it, landscaping items.
Right.
No,
Yeah. I think fertilization is a part of the landscaping maintenance, so that should be
But it can be quoted in the RFP as a separate line item, no?
right. Yes, it can be. And as Bruce was saying, there may be things that every company can't code on, and that's fine. We'll be able to make a decision based on that. We'll be able to
Exactly.
rationalize it, right? It's never going to be exact, but we'll try to make it as exact as possible, and we make a decision. I think we're good enough to be able to do that.
All right, we have a motion. Do I have a second on the motion?
I second.
Chris is seconding. Okay, let's vote on it. All those in favor, any discussion? Okay, let's vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Stephanie, let's do this. Just make sure we got this emotion exactly the way it is. Can you email us, tomorrow with exactly what that motion is to say, so we're all on board together with what it is we're putting out for an RFP? Because the last thing we want to do is do an RFP and then say, oops, we forgot to include something. Let's just make sure we're all in agreement on that, okay?
Perfect.
All right, moving on. Sidewalk repairs.
What question, Paul, before you move on? For Ronnie, for security RFP, are we good with that or not?
We're I'm going to meet with the security company. It's supposed to be Stephanie, if you can confirm.
on the 28th.
Okay.
Thursday. So I'll have more information then.
All right, good.
All right. Okay, moving on. Sidewalk repairs. What is sidewalk repairs discussion?
That's go ahead.
No, go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was just saying that was on the agenda last time, Paul, but I didn't have enough information to make a decision on that at that point. So
Okay.
we tabled it until now. So yeah, everyone is here and can weigh in.
Yeah, I think there was some discussion about the if some of those sidewalks can get paved, and then I provided you guys with I think it was an invoice from 2017 that showed the ones that could be shaved and the ones that were remaining that could not be shaved. So that's kind of where we stand right now. I think that we're either. Go ahead,
Right.
Chris.
We have 3 proposals, I think, related to this for the work to be done. So we need to approve one of them, one of the vendors. Go ahead.
Really?
Okay. So I think this topic is a little bit bigger than just the 3 proposal. And actually, Chris, last time we decided that we should evaluate all the Towngate problem, all the site work, and the management will provide us a list. Maybe we will in-person visit and decide which one rated the highest risk, right? So nothing done about this, our decision. And the second is I sent you guys the photo, and I personally visit that particular location. Most of them are perfectly fine. There are several we can, need to fix, but most of them, over 20, they are perfectly fine. And but the company identified like a 38, 36 area need to be fixed. That
44,
is not
44. 44 is
totally, but there are 6 for the other, northwest 155th 12th Street. There are 30, 6 is like 38 is that this particularly sub. So that is my point number 1. And my point number 2 is there's no need for a concrete walkway at this location. There's no cars need to drive on this walkway. It is not in front of any homes, but it is very close, like within 1 or 2 feet of growing mature trees, which will destroy it continually. Like we have to redo this project, spend 90,000 every several years. So I think we need a sustainable solution instead of wasting homeowners' money every few years.
Okay, so I included in I reviewed the item, and also I checked with management on this as well to make sure that the vendor went over all the items, all the areas. they're gonna also cut the roots of those trees when they actually replace the concrete. So that will be a part of the prevention from those trees actually digging up the same concrete again. So there's some prevention there. It's not 100% proof, I believe, because I've seen that done before. But that's the prevention that they will do in terms of removing some of the roots, the large roots, and creating some
That
sort
is
of
the
barrier there.
90,000. If you want to remove the root, that is the 90,000 proposal. And I don't understand why we need concrete sidewalk on that location, because like I told you, there's no car drive there. So that is beautiful landscaping. If we can change that to a natural trail, that will, your house value will increase, and that is win-win situation. And we don't need to always every several years spend the money to fix that. And
But if it's a nature trail and the roots get in there, it's still a trip hazard.
that is
So
the natural trail.
So the issue we're trying to prevent is the trip hazards, which is the liability to the community, right? So I don't think that answers the trip hazard issue. So I'm actually for this to be done. I didn't have enough information last meeting to be able to assess it and give a good proposal or review or recommendation. But I think it's a worthwhile thing to do. It needs to be done. But
Where did you have the money, Chris?
I'm sorry.
Where did you have the money? Did Rachel budget that?
No, this is not a budgeted item, right? Trip hazards are liability to us. So if
Okay,
if we don't address the liability, it's going to cost us more.
very good.
Right?
Liability.
Yeah.
I want to bring a motion to award any liability. We should immediately close the sidewalk to the public and send a letter to the Cedar Way Sub Association, reminding them that their trees are too close to the sidewalk, and therefore the trees are causing the tripling hazard, and that the tree roots lifting the sidewalk is their responsibility, which they should address. The Master Association is willing to work with the sub on a sustainable solution.
You know what? Let me just weigh in on this, and I will. I have to. I am part of that sub association, so I do have a potential conflict in having this discussion. But I can tell you that first of all, the sidewalks are atrocious and really out of control. Major trip hazards. The trees issues in this community are really significant, and and it just so happens that that sidewalk is a master property. So there's definitely an issue there, and we have the potential hazard of people tripping. They walk their dogs over in that area. The fact that we're having this discussion means that we are aware of it. We really can't ignore it. I think that we do need to work with the sub association in terms of what are the remediations that need to happen in terms of those trees that were planted by the builder, 30 years ago, and that have created this hazard. They're trees that should not be planted in such a small, shallow location.
Yeah.
So that all those issues are coming together. But again, I'm on that sub association. I live in that neighborhood, so I do want to put out there that this is not of my doing. I have, I do have a dog in the fight because the sidewalk is out of control.
Right. So Paul, are you guys? Do you guys have a plan to address the trees? I mean, in Royal Bay, we had to remove them all. It is a major expense.
That I believe is the plan. The problem is that this sub board has not really had a meeting in some time.
Okay.
But it is something actually I've advocated on behalf of my participation as a sub association board member, not as the master board president, but it's time for it to be addressed. There's no question. But the sidewalks are really significantly damaged.
And there were
in fact,
because the trees that were planted, not by homeowners. Can we?
right, right.
No. They should have never been approved by the city of Pembroke Pines, but they were. I know in my sub, we ripped them all out.
Yep.
And fixed
the only
all the
way.
sidewalks and replanted appropriate trees. And it's pretty much true throughout the entire community. My question, and I apologize for not actually going over to take a look at this particular piece of sidewalk. Is this something, what is the traffic on this sidewalk? Is it a high traffic area? If the entire sidewalk was pulled out and just sodded over, would that create a problem? How far back would you have to go to make it make sense to remove it?
Yes, Stephanie.
Bruce, you have very good point, and I do appreciate, Paul. You know that you are conflict of interest. So if you know that, maybe that is a discussion that other board members should, continue. And Bruce, you have really good point. And that particular sidewalk has zero traffic for any car or bicycle. Maybe some people work with dog. But what I can tell you is that at your sub, at our sub, at the classic, most of our sub, we don't have that privilege to have that sidewalk, because that is very close to the Sheridan and basically Towngate. We plant our tree far away, so our tree will not broke, or the city tree will not broke this sidewalk. Somebody's a Cedarway Association, I don't know who decides that tree is so close to our sidewalk.
It was not a Cedarway decision. It was done by the builder. It was done by the builder.
Let me continue. But somebody, I don't know whose decision, and also that tree, mahogany and contemporary has a similar situation like Cedarway, but they don't have those trees very close to our sidewalk. So I don't know who made that decision, but definitely not a smart decision. And Chris, I want to talk about your question. Yes, this cut route, that proposal is 90,000. But I can tell you that will probably bring us much more liability because the tree is so huge and so mature. And then you cut and so close to our sidewalk. If you want to cut, I can tell you the majority of the roof is gone. The tree can anytime falling on the people. That is even more liability for the master or for the Sideway.
Right. One of the proposals is just to remove the concrete, and I guess they'll cut only the roots near to the concrete. So that's 40. I think that's 42,000 from Atlantic Southern and 43 from the other vendor, 3D. So there are three proposals. It's not just 90,000 proposal. But I'm fine either way. I just think we need to do something, whether it's to put sod or not. But something needs to be done.
Solution, If we just cut a little bit of the root, not all the root, then they will break our sidewalk again. If you cut all the root, then the tree will fall down. It's not an easy thing. So really, it's a big. But what I suggest is to make it to the natural trail. The natural trail. The people, you go to Market Park. You're falling there. You cannot. Sue the county because that is supposed to be natural trail, right?
Yes, Stephanie had a comment, I think, related to what Bruce was asking.
No, I just wanted to clarify that really the only solution for the sidewalks is to remove the trees. That's really the only thing that's gonna stop. So we can either get them repaired and then discuss that with Cedarway Board and see if they'll agree to remove the trees.
Personally, I think it's a shame to remove the trees. But why you can so certain tell us that is the only way, I asked, you told me that the Audit Board discussed with the city and they refused, the natural trail. But then I asked you in writing the document and you said you cannot provide it. So, okay, go ahead.
Maria, I did not say that I could not provide it. This is the previous board. This is from years ago. So if I ask them for something and they say that they don't have it, then there's nothing that I can do. But this new board, what you guys can do, if that's something that you don't believe or you question, you can submit permits and pay the fees and see what the city says. If they say
Yes,
no,
we
then
do that. Yes, then don't tell us that is the only solution. I think you have a good
I-
idea. We will submit the permission to the city.
but Rui, again, you can do it, but I just highly doubt that the city will allow the sidewalks to be removed.
That is, you don't need to bother. The
Right.
Commissioner Sibler very happy to come to our meeting.
Can
Then
you
I
make
think our homeowner can talk to her.
If Pembroke Pines would allow us to do it, can you just can he just take just a phone call to do that? Just to verify it?
Right, because the time is of essence as well, right? So the longer we wait is the more that issue is out there. And as I mentioned last month, I think this should have been a recurring thing on every agenda since January. But, I think we need to make sure if we don't make a decision today, we have to keep this in our primary focus.
So,
And I
here's a
also don't
suggestion.
understand, why our master, we discussed it twice. And Paul said that's the problem at Cedarway, but Cedarway doesn't have any board meeting or whatever, That is, if you say it's our problem, I think it is as much as our problem as their problem. Why only
Yeah.
we worry about that and they are not worried?
Well,
In the meantime, can we just put an orange cone on these areas
Yes.
at least to make some kind of demarcation and give ourselves some time to further address this issue, because there's no clear-cut solution here short of cutting down the tree, cutting out the roots, and either planting grass or replacing the sidewalk. And I can't see putting a lot of money into this. If it's a low traffic area, I think we should look at the lowest cost solution
Right.
and go in that direction. I think that's going to best
Exactly.
serve our homeowners.
So,
Bruce, do you want to amend my motion? I already have the motion on the table. You want to amend my motion? Your orange cone. I like that idea.
Well, I mean, for the short term, if we're not going to move on this, we need to
Yes,
to identify it from a liability standpoint so
Right.
that we're covered.
Bruce, I'm sorry. I live here, and the amount of sidewalks, I mean, I don't know how Woody is speaking about this, and she doesn't live in this development here in Cedarway. The amount of cones that you would have to put out, it would look ridiculous. I mean, it is a lot of sidewalks that need to be fixed.
Well, Ronnie, if you indeed, you're probably more familiar with this than most of us. From a
Wait. Can I just want to step into here just for a second. The sidewalk in question is only one strip. It's not all of the sidewalks in Cedar Way. I want to be clear about that. So it's one strip I forget what the name of the road is. So it's only that one area. It's not all of the sidewalk, because all the sidewalks in Cedar Way have problems, but this one particularly has an issue.
How long
And
is
it belongs to the master, is my understanding.
How long is that strip, Paul?
I'm sorry?
How long would you say that strip is?
Oh, it's 5 blocks, 4 blocks. Yeah. But it's not every side. I mean, what we're talking about for our purposes of this discussion is only that
the
section.
masters. Yeah, this is the masters property. So
Right.
If we not use the orange cone, we can use orange tape or whatever tape. We can. My original motion is close the road, and Bruce want to the orange cone. So if you think that will be too much cones, then we use tape to close the road. There's almost no traffic on the road.
Yeah.
my fear of doing that, I feel like we're gonna put cones and tape, and we're gonna basically be forcing the homeowners to walk in the street, which.
Yeah, why not?
Not safe either.
Every Royal Bay and the Classic Vista and what Bruce come we walk that street.
We walk in the street all the time.
The speed is 20 miles. Everybody walk and running and jogging on the street. Like I told you, we don't have this privilege to have a separate extra, those happy trail or sidewalk. So that is not, they are not work on the I-75 or Sheridan Street, okay? They still work in the beautiful community.
All right, so where are we with this?
So we have 3 proposals already, and I think what everyone is saying, if I'm summarizing clearly, is that we want to get another idea as it relates to removing the concrete and putting grass or something else there, and what that cost would be. I think that's where we are. And if that's cheaper than the 40,000 mark that to remove the concrete, then I think then we can go with that. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Cheaper is one point. Another point is sustainable, Chris. So you don't want to repeatedly every 3 years 45,000 every 3 years.
Yeah.
So here's my comment, Chris. So would you guys like to maybe conditionally approve one of these invoices in the meantime until we speak to the city? If they say no, then we can move forward with one of the proposals. If they say yes, then we just leave the proposal alone, because then we're going to have to wait until the next meeting to come back to this again. So it's just a suggestion.
Yes, we wait until next meeting. And in the meantime, my motion is on the table to how to avoid the liability.
So I'm sorry, can you restate the motion?
My motion is to avoid any liability. We should immediately close the sidewalk to the public and send a letter to the Cedarway Sub Association reminding them that their trees are too close to the sidewalk and therefore the trees are causing a tripling hazard, and that the tree roots lifting the sidewalk is their responsibility, which they should address. The Master Association is willing to work with the sub on a sustainable solution.
All right, do I have a second to that motion? Do I have an amendment to the motion?
Well, that was a very long motion, so I think the key part of the motion is to address the liability by marking the areas until the board makes a decision on what to do with the area.
Yes, basically, but a sustainable solution. What we said, sustainable solution.
Preferably.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
accept your amendment.
I'm sorry but to force people to walk on the streets and you have a child get hit car, we would be liable, because Bruce, when you have time, just come and see what we're talking about. Just the turning into the streets, if you have these kids walk, and there's a lot of kids in that block, walking the street and they get hit by cars, we would be liable.
Yep.
Ronnie, you are really funny. I told many already twice.
You need to.
Our staff, everybody walk on the street. Where the car drive, where the bicycle ride. So last time you threaten us with a liability, somebody trip, and I give you the solution now. Now you threaten the board that somebody will hit by the car. So.
No, I mean, I think it's...
The point being, though, there is a conveyance there that we are now closing. That's the difference. So if you have a community in which there are no sidewalks, well, then that's how it works. I don't think it's appropriate or appreciated to be mocking other board members, please. So I think, all input is valued and valuable, and we should be respectful of that.
Right.
So we do have a motion. I think I need to abstain from a vote only because I do serve on that sub board, and I do believe it will be a conflict of interest for me to vote one way or the other. So I will be abstaining from this vote. So do we? But do we get a second? I know, Chris, you had kind of amended the motion, I believe. Or Rui, is that?
Yes. Chris, you can state your amendment again, because I have
basically it's, seeing that we haven't made a decision yet, it's to address the liability by marking the areas that are affected here, so as to, prevent usage of the area. So until the board can make a decision.
I second the amended motion.
All right, we have a second. Any further discussion?
How exactly are we going to mark it?
I don't know. I don't know.
I would tape it off.
Tape it off. Yeah.
That's what we do anyhow with the construction when we have to go through and replace all the other sidewalks. Is I would tape it off. And we need to act on this as soon as we can. That being said, I have to step out. If we want to vote on this motion, I'd be more than happy to do that at this point.
Yeah, we're gonna need your vote, Bruce, so just hang in for another minute. Okay, so I'm
We're
calling for a
good.
vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Say
Aye.
aye. Opposed?
Just to make sure, that is my motion, main motion, and then Chris did the amend, right? We are voting on that one,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I accept the Chris amended, right?
That's correct. That's
Okay.
correct.
Then I
Okay.
vote.
All right, okay, I'm abstaining from vote. Ronnie, are you voting? Did you vote?
I live in Cedar Way, so I guess I have to abstain from voting.
Well, you're a resident, so I don't know. I mean, for me, I'm on the sub board, so I definitely have a conflict. As far as I'm concerned, I just have to be careful. So I'll leave that up to your discretion.
I vote no. Go ahead.
Okay, so we have, that's 3, 4, 1 against, and 1 abstention.
Okay.
Okay? All right. I
I gotta
apologize.
go. Thank you very much, everybody. I think it was
Thanks,
a great
Bruce.
meeting, and have a great evening.
All right.
Hey, thank you,
sir.
Bruce.
All right,
Appreciate it.
the last thing I have is the Comcast contract update. Do you want to table that, or do you want to discuss that? Because
Yeah,
I think
because
Bruce was part of,
we
Bruce
kinda
kind of
did
talked about it
Bruce.
a little bit.
Yes, he did. He did.
Yeah,
Alright,
we
so-
already discussed it. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's 9:05 now. Let's go till 9:30 and allow residents, anyone else who's on this call who wants to chime in with questions or comments. So you have 3 minutes. Stephanie, you want to monitor that because I can't really see everyone's screen.
I don't see anybody raising their hands. Okay.
There's
go ahead.
one.
I sent a request to you, Ryan. Okay, go ahead.
Hello, hey, how's it going, guys? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good night, Ryan. Yes, we can hear you.
Good evening. How's it
Good
going?
evening. Good evening.
Yeah. So I've been in contact with Stephanie a lot, and it's usually my wife normally on these calls. But and this is the first time I'm able to take off of work to be able to actually be on this call. I've been the gentleman that has been trying to get a roof for our house. It's in Mahogany Way. The biggest issue I've been having is I've been getting denied because of the roof style that it is, as opposed to what's normal in Towngate. And I just want to see if maybe there's some consideration and maybe a second vote on maybe having an opportunity to have that style roof that we spoke about in the past. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I want to ask your opinion on what's the status on that.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I believe Ronnie commented on this the last time, and basically, I think we requested that if they could stick with the design that was submitted, right?
Because originally,
So
I'm sorry, but originally when your wife came to us,
yeah,
she explained to us the type of material that it was going to be, the style of it.
right.
And I even made the comment that I was doing the roof and I wish I would have known about this myself because I would have gotten it. But then when she came back the second time, I guess there was an issue with the original arrangement. And then it was changed to a flat, I guess, because the pictures that were sent to us, the flat metal roof.
Yeah.
And then that's why it was denied.
But the reason why the only reason why I've been trying to get in a yes with this is because just because of cost purposes, the roof that you're telling me to get, other than the Spanish tile roof, number one, the Spanish tile roofs, they last 25. They're guaranteed for 25 years. Correct.
Correct.
The metal roofs, which either or if you choose, is 45 years. So you're almost doubling lifespan. So that means there's less blue tarps on the roofs that you're gonna have if you're allowing this. I have here some prices that I've got from multiple
Yeah,
roofers.
I'm sorry, Ryan. I'm sorry to interrupt you. So here's how, because I want to save you some time and save everyone some time here. The bottom line is, in this community, there's a certain style of roof. The roofs are basically the barrel tile roofs. So whether they're metal or clay, we decided that the metal would be an appropriate substitute, but the flat roofs are not in keeping with the community standards. And I think I speak on behalf of the board. The likelihood of getting that approved at this board level is not likely to happen. So it's an issue of aesthetics and maintaining the aesthetics of the entire community. And once you start having one or two homes having a flat style roof, now what happens is everything starts to open. So I'm just trying to kind of give you a short circuit to this, because I think you're gonna spend a lot of time kind of explaining this. I could tell you that I would not vote for approval on a flat style roof. It would only be for roof tiles. And I could just do a quick poll of the board members right now, so you don't waste a lot of time kind of waiting for something that I don't think is going to happen. So I'd rather kind of let you know that.
I talk my opinion.
Originally, when your wife came to us, she explained to us that it was gonna look exactly what we have.
She never said that. She never said that. I have her right next to me. She never said that. My issue is that Towngate is stuck in an era where I'm letting you know, because I've looked around just to make sure I'm not asking for something that's not. I'm not asking for a pink roof. I'm asking for something that's better in structure, that will last longer for everybody, and it's been developed in other communities. I'm not saying that I'm the only person in Pembroke Pines that has this. I'm saying that Silver Shores, Spring Valley, all of these communities have multiple metal flat roofs because of the price and because of the way it lasts. You're guaranteed 45 years. That means for the next 45 years, you guys are not gonna see blue tarps around your roofs. So why not allow something that's better for the homeowner to be able to actually have, instead of keeping us with the same thing that's not gonna last us. And every 25 years, you're gonna have people having tarps on the roof because nobody could afford $30,000 roof. The roof that you're asking me to get, it's either $25,000 that lasts 25 years, or a metal roof that's going to cost me $70,000 that nobody could afford. So why not allow me to have something that's going to make my house better, that not have a hurricane thrown out of this place? I just don't understand the because of the way it looks. I don't think that's a solid reason for me not to have the best quality roof in my property and everybody's property. I think everybody should have a chance to improve their house to that certain extent.
Right, can I talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
I totally agree with your opinion and argument. Not only the metal roof last long and cheap, and also actually that is very fashionable. If you go to the housing, you search matte black metal roof. That is all the modern fashion house use this kind of roof. And if you drive the car along the Dex Road across the Pines, on the right, the community, I don't know their name.
Silver Shores.
Yes, you will see a brown colored this street, like you proposed, but in brown color, and there looks very fashion, very trendy. Compared to around that house, this old, small and dirty, this tiled roof. I have to say that is the modern. Like 20 years ago, Minto, we don't have iPhone, we don't have. So I totally agree with you. I will vote for your metal roof. If the current board don't approve you, wait until November.
Yeah, and then one more thing that I need to say. Every time you need to tiles, understand that every time somebody gets on your roof, you're pretty much guaranteed to crack tiles. On a metal roof, first of all, you're gonna have to clean way less because pressure cleaning on a metal roof is a lot easier. And number two, you're not gonna break tiles. So that's the thing. You guys rather have something that's gonna be breaking multiple times, as opposed to having something that's way better for the community. I just don't understand why you're not allowing us to improve our homes. And that's certain extent. Again, If it's something, if it's a color issue or anything, I completely understand. I'll put it at whatever color you want. I don't care about that. I care about what's better for my home. And that's the biggest issue that I'm trying to understand, why I'm not allowed to put something that's better. You get me? I get that we all have a certain look, but if there's but times have changed and things are better right now. Why have a vinyl gate or a wooden gate when metal is proven to last 10 times longer? So I'm just trying to understand that. And I think I could speak for some people that might be considering changing the roof, soon. So I don't know. That's
Okay. Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate your input. I think what we can do is we could bring it back to the board for a vote.
Please.
But I mean, I'm just telling you the truth, man. I don't want to point punches with you and just tell you where I stand with this.
I understand.
I just think that in terms of the maintaining a certain, listen, when it first came to us as a like a roof tile, like the barrel tile, it sounded like a great idea, and it still sounds like it is. It just once it went to the flat roof, and that was my understanding. I'm not saying anyone was wrong. I'm just saying that was my understanding. So that's where it got off the tracks a little bit.
Yeah, it's just that the metal barrel tile is unrealistic for anybody to afford. That's
I mean, we didn't know. I mean, listen, honestly, we had, it just came up in that meeting, and we had no information other than it seemed like it was a pretty reasonable alternative and it would last longer. I mean, the point we brought up is, the homes, are now 30 plus years old, and should we be looking at different materials? You can't have the same materials that are even available anymore. So it's more a question of aesthetics. Quite frankly, that's what it comes to. That that's the whole deal.
I know, but aesthetics shouldn't overcome durability. That's the honest truth.
Right. I definitely see your point. There's no question about it. But I think we as a board have to. There's 2,100 homes here, so you've got a lot of homes to consider in terms of how the homes are configured and look and so on. So I think that's it's a significant consideration. Again, I think when it was the tiles, it was one thing. Once it went to a flat roof, it became a whole different discussion. I'll let other board members kind of weigh in on.
Well, I think we should take it under consideration. We don't have to make a decision today, because I think maybe we need to get additional input on this.
I could get you a PowerPoint presentation. I could get you multiple roofers to come out and talk to you guys, if that's any help. Just to give you an idea of what it looks like, how it looks like. We could take a drive to other communities just to give you an idea how it looks compared to a Spanish roof tile right next to it. Just so I can send you pictures. I don't know if that helps of Silver Shores and Spring Valley with the flat roofs. So if that,
I know Bruce isn't here, and Bruce had some concerns about it as well. So I think we can take it under consideration and
So Ryan, why don't we do this? If you can get us some information,
of course,
we'll bring it back to the board. And I apologize, because I know you've been waiting on an answer, and this has been going back and forth. And honestly, the stub can't just decide, it's okay with them as long as it's okay with the master. I mean, that doesn't really work that way. So I appreciate that you got put in kind of a squeeze play here, and I don't want to screw with you either. So we'll try to figure something out with this. Okay.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. Okay. You got anyone else?
If you raised your hand before, can you please raise it again, because it's kind of gone. I think Terry was raising her hand. Oh. Ileana.
No, maybe there isn't any.
Give us a second.
Okay, sorry.
There are people raising hand.
I said the unmute. Go ahead, Ileana.
Good evening to everyone. I'm concerned about a lot of things. Like we move slow on certain things, and then on some things like what is the filing of the documents? I really think that, you know, that should be added, not decided, but just the board, but the homeowners here. They should go to vote, regardless of whether it's put in or not. I don't think that decision should have been made like that. If it was, I don't think so, because I attend all the meetings. So I really don't appreciate that we move fast on that, which is 2 years from now, and we take consideration on other things. The other thing about the trees, we also have a tree in Contempo Walk that the sidewalk is lifted, and it's right by the drain. And it's one of the pools. It's a mahogany tree that is placed right by the pool, so it belongs to the masters. And I was walking with my granddaughter, and she tripped. Thank God I was holding her, because I don't know if she would have lost her teeth or anything like that. That has been shaved before, but it's lifted again on its 2 sidewalks, and in the middle is kind of like flat because due to the drain is right there. That's about, I guess, everything. I did appreciate the fact that you guys are waiting on the trees for Cedar Way, since Contempo Walk had to replace all of their sidewalks, and so that other communities. I do also appreciate the fact of that berm that's missing there, to take that into more consideration. So I really appreciate the fact where you guys are going back and forth and trying to decide, but not on the filing of the documents. I really don't appreciate that, because the homeowners are the ones that pay the bill. I think they should make the decision as to how many years or what goes into the documents, or have them be a part of that, and have the lawyer, you know, have more inputs, and then probably have, you know, the homeowners ask questions to the lawyers also, not only the board members. And on the Contempo Walk, I mean, on the Comcast, I have sent emails. I have 2 pipes that are going under my driveway. One was a mistake, and the other one is, so actually all of that dirt and rocks underneath there where my car goes on has been moved and whatnot. 2 pipes I sent pictures of. It's like maybe 2 inches underground. That's gonna lift up with the shifting. My grass is a total mess. From then, the grass dies. It brings shrubs. I live in the corner, and I am disgusted. I have just left it alone like that. I've called Frank. He's come and done something. I mean, you guys can just pass by it. From what my lawn looked before to what it looks now, it looks like it went through a war. And actually, I don't see, you know, anyone doing anything about it. So thank you so very much. I'm done.
Thank you, Elaine.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else? Oh, Mr. Rakesh?
Terry already raising hand time.
Yeah, board discussed hedge in Contempo Walk, and they were talking about some sustainable solution, permanent solution. Maybe you can build a wall for us, then it's hard to break and nobody will coming in. But also we get a lot of noise from Pines Boulevard traffic. It will help us in reducing that noise also. Safety, security, noise detection, all that. And plus, nobody has to cut the hedge every month. Low maintenance or almost no maintenance. That's one thing. Second thing, you were talking about some trees, including one in Contempo Walk, Ileana just mentioned, and Sidewalk. Last year, governor signed a bill. If tree is a safety hazard, you can cut it without permit. Third, I'm not talking about current contact, but I'm talking about last time, like 8 years ago or so, when board signed 7-year contracts with Comcast, I requested them just leave alone. Don't sign the contract. They say board has to do it according to the document, and that's a lie. If any board member don't believe me, they can go back and read the document. It says board is not required to, but they can. So if you don't feel it's necessary, just don't do it in future. Because once you sign the contract, they treat a second-class customer. I tell you why I say that based on my experience. 9 years ago, when I wanted X1, Comcast told me I had to have minimum 3 services from them to have X1 service. While my friends outside the HOA can have just X1, don't have to have any other service. That's second class because they know we cannot go anywhere. Third, when we sign the contract, a lot of time is already outdated, getting old technology. If we get new technology, we have to pay you most of the time extra, like I was paying for X1 boxes extra for 7 years. Third, it's good for many people, understand that, but not for everybody. Like in my case, even if I know English, read and write, speak everything, but when it comes to entertainment, I watch Hindi movies, my native language, because I enjoy that more. So there's a lot of people here from different countries. We speak different language. So it's not necessarily we have 300 English channels, not necessarily. I'm not watching them. A lot of people like that. Third, I'm retired and moved to North, where my most family is. I may be a snowbird. I may be coming here 3-4 months a year. And then I'm paying for all time. There are a lot of those things. So consider that may not be stuck for 11, 12 years, but it's not necessary to renew it right now. So all those kind of things. So plus a lot of things people in my community feel they have hotspot their phone. If they need internet, they can use. I'm not saying it's a high rate. No, I'm not saying that. But some people don't want it or don't need cable. They can just have antenna, 3 news channel. They cannot afford or they don't want all that kind of thing. So leave them alone. When I had a AT&T internet, I could tell them, hey, you give me the promotional rate, otherwise I'm going to Comcast. And they always gave me a promotional rate. They didn't tell me you had only 1 year, you cannot get again. But now I cannot tell that to Comcast because they know I cannot go anywhere. So leave us alone. We take whatever service we need. If up to me, I will take AT&T for TV because they have tons of my language channels. Comcast has 3, and I have to pay for extra. All those kind of things. So just future, I know it's long-term, 11 years more. But if it is, I may not be even here by then, but just let the residents decide what they want or don't want. Thank you.
Thank you. One more, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Rakesh.
Terry is going to be the last person because she's been raising her hand. So I'm going to send you the unmute.
Hi, I just wanted to reiterate, I was on it the last time. I know that the homeowners were trying to get a lot more time to speak. Again, we ran out of time because of all the discussions, which obviously were needed. With all the motions that were signed, and unfortunately the sidewalk thing wasn't addressed, I guess some of the landscaping and I guess this man's roof. Can we have a list at the end of your meeting to tell us who on the board is assigned to handle your motions? Maybe it's a little more clarification on who is going to take care of it within the next 30 days before the next meeting. There, it doesn't get put, I guess, thrown on the bus and not even done. It is such an important thing. Get sued if somebody falls on the sidewalks and this land's and all this stuff. Somebody's got to take the guy who I'm the president. There's got to be people on the board underneath him. He can't do it all. So can be assigned to do that. Let the homeowners know who it is. So you have a little comfort of what's being. Yeah.
We're having some trouble hearing you. I'm not sure if you're talking too close to the phone, but it's kind of going in and out.
Is it any better now?
You can try. Go ahead.
It might be because I'm on my headset, but I'm afraid to get off of it. I'm afraid it's going to hang up the call. I don't know how much you guys heard. I just wanted to know who, can you hear me telling you, who on the board is going to be assigned to these tasks so that we know that hopefully it doesn't get left off or not followed up on the agenda by the next meeting. For instance, the sidewalk issue, this man's roof, because we did discuss it last time, and I was under the impression that they, I heard that it was pretty much going to go through for them. And I guess it's not, or they're still undecided. And then we went round and around with the landscaping bid again. I just feel that we have a lot of motions coming in on this board, and it's not either taking a long time to do it, or we're missing some of them. And the last thing I wanted to say is that I think, again, the lady said it before that was just speaking. I think the homeowners don't have enough involvement with their input, and we're leaving the board to do everything. I understand that's what the board is for, but I don't think there's enough voices coming from the homeowners of their input and what can be changed and addressed or voted on. I think it sounds like they want to be involved more and want to have more of a participation in it. And it's hard to do that with 3 minutes at the end of every meeting when we run out of time for the homeowners. So maybe going forward, you guys can try to ask more of the situations in the following, meeting, do more of the board talking. That's just my suggestion from what I hear, because I'm listening to private chats going back and forth, and people they have a lot of concerns and they want to be part of the voting. So that's my input. Oh, and another thing, I know that whatever is going on, we hear it all the time amongst the board members. They're, when Ruby speaks, and then Paul speaks, and Chris speaks, and we're kind of hoping that the board's getting along, but it doesn't really sound like it. It sounds like there's a lot of turmoil, and it's terrible. I mean, it's not, we're a little insecure because of it. I mean, everybody makes good points, and I know nobody's going to agree on everything, but maybe, it's something to discuss after everybody's off the phones amongst the board members privately. But I think everybody's opinion on the board should matter, should count, and everybody has one. But when you don't agree, you don't disagree, and you don't, it's the way it's going about doesn't sound too good. So that's just my input.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you.
Okay, Paul, do you want to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Yes, thank you, everybody. And Terry, thank you for your points. I really wanted to spend enough time to get homeowners on, and we will do everything we can to try to address that so that we can really get more input from homeowners. I apologize again. So thank you all for being here tonight. I do not believe there will be a meeting in August. I think we take the month of August off. And I believe that our next meeting will be an in-person meeting. But again, watch your email for the location and time. And Ryan, in the meantime, we'll try to kind of figure out this roof issue. It got. My understanding is it got the material got kind of switched up, and then it became a different decision. So we will review that, and if you can help us out with that, that would be appreciated. All right. Thank you all. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, board members. Thank you for all your work. Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody. Take care, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Paul? We didn't make a motion.
Oh, I moved to end the meeting. Sorry.
Ronnie, can you second it?
Seconded. Sorry. All those in favor? Aye.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.